Finishing telling the story of William Marshall, I got to admit, I felt lost and adrift. I didn't know what to do next. And then someone said Vlad the Impaler, so this is the story of Vlad the Impaler. And he is so much more interesting than his literary counterpart. Strap yourselves in. So Vlad III Dracula was born in the 1430s in Wallachia, which is modern-day Romania. At the time of his birth, the Ottoman Empire had been expanding west, and Wallachia was acting as a sort of buffer zone between the Ottoman Empire and Europe, namely the Kingdom of Hungary. So Wallachia was sandwiched between two pretty powerful entities. And Vlad's father, also called Vlad II Dracul, had a bit of a problem. In 1437, Sigismund of Luxembourg, who was the Holy Roman Emperor, also King of Hungary at the time, died. Now, he was the most powerful ally that Vlad II had. It welcomed Vlad into the Order of the Dragon, which is why they have the name Dracul or Draculesti. But with Sigismund dead, Vlad didn't have any military backing should the Turks invade, so he decides to travel south to meet Murad II, the then sitting Sultan, to discuss a political relationship. Was Vlad serious about this political relationship? Not really. He was kind of playing both sides. The problem with playing both sides is that it usually comes back to bite you in the arse. After a couple of conflicts between the Ottomans and the Hungarians, Vlad had changed sides a couple of times, and Murad had noticed, and he'd invited Vlad down for an explanation. When Vlad rolls up to Murad's court to, explain the situation, Murad's not having it, and he has him arrested along with his two sons, Little Vlad and his brother Radu. And this is where the story of Little Vlad really begins. Because although Dad Vlad was released after about a year and went back to Wallachia to take his throne back from his usurping cousin, Little Vlad and Radu stayed at the Ottoman court as hostages for the next 5-6 years. And in classic, medieval noble hostage fashion, they were educated. They were trained to be good rulers. Or rather, loyal rulers, because the Ottomans fully intended them to rule as puppets. However, Little Vlad did not do well in captivity. I mean, he was incredibly intelligent, he was multilingual, he was a very good fighter, but he had a major problem with authority. He was frequently punished and whipped for his behavior. Because the Ottomans weren't going to put up with that, who did the little boyar think he was? And because Vlad had a major problem with authority, this only made the situation worse. The same cannot be said of his younger brother Radu. Radu was the perfect hostage. He knew his place and he did what he was told. He also became a friend of the future Sultan Mehmed II, who will definitely enter this story later. But because Radu flourished under Ottoman tutelage, it drove a wedge between the two brothers. And that wedge would only get worse with time. And come back for part 2.